The old town of Blackwood was known for its eerie charm. Cobblestone streets, flickering gas lamps, and ancient buildings with towering spires gave it a timeless feel. But the most striking feature of the town was the Blackwood Cathedral, a massive structure with stone gargoyles perched high above, their cold, unblinking eyes watching over the town like silent sentinels. It was a chilly autumn evening when Inspector Harold Grayson arrived in Blackwood. He was a tall, lean man with a sharp mind and a reputation for solving the most perplexing cases. This time, he'd been called to investigate a series of strange occurrences at the cathedral. The townsfolk whispered of strange noises, shadowy figures, and a gargoyle that seemed to move when no one was looking. The final straw came when the cathedral's caretaker, Mr. Thompson, was found unconscious at the base of the bell tower, muttering about the gargoyle's watch. Inspector Grayson made his way to the cathedral, his coat pulled tightly around him to ward off the cold. The heavy wooden doors creaked as he pushed them open, revealing the dimly lit interior. The air was thick with the scent of incense and old stone. "Ah, Inspector Grayson," a voice called out. It was Father Michael, the cathedral's priest. He was a kind-looking man with silver hair and a gentle smile, but his eyes betrayed his worry. "Thank you for coming," Father Michael said, leading Grayson to a small office. "I fear something sinister is at work here. Mr. Thompson is still in shock and refuses to speak of what he saw." Grayson nodded. "I'd like to see the bell tower and the gargoyles. Perhaps they hold the key to this mystery." The two men climbed the narrow spiral staircase to the top of the bell tower. As they stepped out onto the ledge, Grayson was struck by the view. The town stretched out below, bathed in the soft glow of the moon. But his attention was quickly drawn to the gargoyles. There were 4 of them, each carved with intricate detail. Their faces were twisted into grotesque expressions, and their eyes seemed to follow him as he moved. One in particular caught his eye, a gargoyle with a broken wing, its head tilted as if listening. "Has anyone noticed anything unusual about this one?" Grayson asked, pointing to the broken-winged gargoyle. Father Michael hesitated. "Now that you mention it, Mr. Thompson often spoke of that gargoyle. He said it seemed different from the others, but I dismissed it as his imagination." Grayson examined the gargoyle closely. Its stone surface was weathered, but there were faint scratches near its base, as if it had been moved recently. He ran his fingers over the scratches, his mind racing. That night, Grayson decided to keep watch. He stationed himself in the bell tower, hidden in the shadows, and waited. The hours passed slowly, the only sound the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. Just as the clock struck midnight, Grayson heard it, a faint scraping sound, like stone against stone. He peered into the darkness and saw the broken-winged gargoyle shift ever so slightly. His heart pounded as he watched the gargoyle's head turn, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. But Grayson was no ordinary man. He had seen enough of the world to know that not everything was as it seemed. He crept closer, his footsteps silent, and saw a figure crouched behind the gargoyle. It was a man, dressed in black, manipulating a series of hidden levers and pulleys. "Stop right there," Grayson shouted, lunging forward. The man turned, his face pale with shock, and tried to flee. But Grayson was quicker. He tackled the man to the ground, pinning him in place. It was none other than Victor Crane, a disgraced engineer who had been fired from the cathedral's restoration project years ago. Crane had used his knowledge of the cathedral's architecture to create a system of hidden mechanisms, allowing him to move the gargoyle and scare the townsfolk. "Why?" Grayson demanded, pulling Crane to his feet. Crane sneered. "Revenge. They ruined my career. so I decided to ruin their peace. The Gargoyle's watch was my masterpiece, a way to make them fear the very place they held sacred. Grayson shook his head. Your masterpiece ends tonight. With Crane in custody, the mystery of the Gargoyle's watch was solved. The townsfolk of Blackwood could once again walk the streets without fear, and the cathedral stood as a symbol of resilience. As for Inspector Grayson, he left Blackwood with a sense of satisfaction. The Gargoyles still watched over the town, but now they were nothing more than stone, silent, unmoving, and forever guarding the secrets of the past.